Hello everyone, welcome to a Board Game BBQ unboxing. I'm Jules and today we're unboxing, well, all of this madness. Ankh, Gods of Egypt. Let's not waste any time and get stuck straight into it. Alright, now that we've got those little introductions out of the way, let's jump straight into unboxing the core box. Oh man, this in itself is a beast of a box. Now, if you're at all familiar with the other games that Eric Lang has done, this is more akin for scale to Rising Sun. I'm getting it. Blood Rage itself wasn't as big, but Rising Sun was a little bit bigger. This is the same as Rising Sun in terms of size of box. So hefty stuff, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing all the goodies inside. Oh man, it's heavy as well. Of course, you wouldn't expect any different from CMON. Loads and loads of plastic. And this is a very tight fit. And actually, it's got a really nice linen finish on the box. I'm feeling on the sides here. There we go. Okay. All right. Some promotional material. We can move that to the side. The rule book. Pretty thick. Haven't had a read through this yet. I've purposely avoided actually learning the game online, even though it's been available on TTS as such. I really wanted to keep this one a surprise. So from what I understand in the rulebook, there's actually different scenarios, sort of, to do with the different player counts that you have in the game. So the setup is a bit different depending on player counts, but there's going to be a lot to unpack in there. Very excited to read that. Here it looks like there's other scenarios that you can go through. So that gives you an idea. We've got a 2-player, 3, 4, and 5-player game. So there is a difference between each of those player counts. All right. Bunch of cardboard. So this is loads and loads of tokens. We've got some boards to track devotion. The whole idea of the game is that you're trying to stay relevant to the people. The people of Egypt, the gods are not in favor, well, they're no longer the favor of the people, I suppose, and there can only be one that stays relevant. And so you're trying to have more worshippers and more people devout to you to be the one true God remaining at the end of the game. So it looks like we've also got the board in here, so I will open this one up. But later on, there will be a box that has upgraded bits for all the cardboard tokens. So I won't go through all the cardboard tokens just now because those will be coming a little bit later, but we'll try and have a look at the board. And again, when relevant, I'll put some pictures up so you can get a bit of a closer look at some of the details of this beautifully produced game. So very, very excited to see what comes out as we continue to delve deeper into this madness. Okay, there's going to be plastic all over my floor. So these are just some boards to keep track of things. Again, there'll be thicker cardboard versions of these later on. Some tokens, which we won't go into just yet. More tokens. And the actual board itself. Now, it's a bit hard to see on camera in this angle, but the detail in this board is stunning. I love this map already. The water has such character to it. It just looks amazing. Beautiful, beautiful board. Tiny little details of like sphinxes and cities and boats on the Nile River. It looks absolutely stunning. I am very excited to get this onto the table ASAP. Right, well, this box inside this box is just about as big as the actual box that's inside. So I'm going to turn this upside down and shake it out this way. Okay, and it looks like we do have a tray on the inside here to do some sorting. Okay, so player cards. I won't go through them all just now. This is a very high-level unboxing. Some action steps that are handy player aids for players. And we've got some merging boards. So one of the interesting things about this game is that at some point in the game, there'll be a point where you tally up your scores, and the players that are the two lowest scoring will actually merge into one entity and play as a team for the rest of the game. So those merging boards are for that particular mechanic, which I'm interested to see how it plays out. I'm not usually a cooperative sort of player, but Eric Lang definitely likes to push the boundaries of game design and do things that are very unique, and he's certainly aimed for that here. He hasn't held back any punches. So these are the God boards to track the powers that you can upgrade. Again, there's going to be beautiful, thick cardboard versions of those as well. Okay, now this is what we're all here for. It's the miniatures. We're not going to lie about it. Now, before I actually open this up, I will just point out at this point in time that they have done a beautiful job of showing you where the miniatures are actually supposed to go. Great little detail. Costs, I'm sure, next to nothing to just print that on a cardboard box, but a very appreciated feature nonetheless. Okay. There are 3 trays to get through in here, so bear with me. All right. We've got your soldiers. These miniatures look absolutely awesome. And again, I'll put some photos up for you to take a closer look. And we've got the camels here. Now, this was a bit of a controversial thing. People weren't so sure about how these camels were going to turn out, but I can tell you, I love them. The detail on these is amazing. For tiny little camel tokens that you use to divide up regions on the board, area control is absolutely a core part of this game. And one of the features that again drew me to it was the fact that you could draw basically your own new regions on the board by building trade routes, which the camels represent. So that's a nice little touch. They didn't just use generic wooden pieces to divide up those trade routes. They actually went and made miniatures for that, which is awesome. And oh my word, these miniatures are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Holy cow. Wow. I think this one's Osiris. This is by far the best work I think CMON has ever done. This is absolutely amazing. The level of craftsmanship in these miniatures is blowing my mind right now. Wow. I'm speechless. This is absolutely amazing. This one's Anubis. Super duper cool. So there's a whole bunch more gods and other boxes that we're going to get to very shortly. But the grey miniatures here are monsters that you can summon. This is perhaps one of my favorites. They have a scorpion that has a sarcophagus in the top of it, which is absolutely ridiculous. Again, this work is phenomenal. I am absolutely blown away by this. Wowzers. Okay. I don't want this to be blowout to a 10-hour long unboxing video, so I'm going to keep moving forward and we're going to unbox the next stuff. So bear with me while I clean this up and we'll get on to the next one. Okay, so we're ready for the next one. This box is the Tomb of Wonders. Again, the exact same size box as the base box. Again, Rising Sun's size. This is just stretch goals. Straight up stretch goals. There is nothing else to this box. Just more goodness, more gods to play as, more monsters you can summon. And I'm excited to see what's in this one. Again, I apologize if I don't have much to add to this, because I said I have purposely avoided learning about this game because I want it to be a surprise for myself. But I'm filming this to enjoy this moment with other people that are at all interested in this game. So let's get cracking into the Tomb of Wonders. Oh man, this was one of the last stretch goals that they offered for the campaign, was a dedicated box for the stretch goals, and I'm very glad that they did this because A game with miniatures needs good organization, and this one is certainly not lacking in it. So we've got a book that's giving us a breakdown for the different monsters that you can summon in this one. Just a two-pager there, nothing crazy. And boxes within boxes. All right, before we get to that one, we'll have a look at what else is in here. Now, I suspect this is going to be... okay, there's a few things in here. So, we've got the thicker cardboard devotion track. So that's the one that will replace the thinner ones in the base box. And then we've got thicker cardboard token and tracks here for some of the other gods. So I won't open those up. It's just more of the stuff for the gods itself. We've got cards, extra play cards for extra gods, and cards for the new monsters that you can summon. And we'll take a look at what's in the bottom of this box. So, some of the stretch goals that they did. Basically, they turned all of the buildings into actual miniatures in the game. So, now this one might be taped down. I believe it is. So, I'm going to have to bust this one open with a knife. So, yeah, they turned all the buildings into actual miniatures, which is classic CMON, but I am not complaining about that. Because I believe the different buildings give you different strengths and powers, and you can actually slot your god's tokens, or the tokens that represent your player, into the actual buildings. So it's very clear who's controlling what, which is a great touch. So at a glance, you can very easily read the board state and know how things are tracking. Okay, we're almost there. Cool. All right, let's move that one out of the way. So, these tiles. So, as I said, it's got little slots in the top here to put your token into, which is really, really cool. And again, with the pyramids, there's a slot in the front there, and there's obelisks as well, which you can put your token in the front as well. And one of the things they did, as I mentioned before, is there's a few scenarios, and one of those being that there's a city. So they actually went and made a city tile for it, which is crazy, crazy cool. Now, this set of stunning looking tiles with the gold detailing on them is for one of the gods. I believe it's Sobek, who's a crocodile. So this tile's unique to him, if I'm understanding things correctly. So I'm excited to see what they do. And there's some beautiful coins, or I believe these would be your devotion markers. They're not metal, they are plastic, but they've painted them or done a finish on them with some beautiful gold finish, which looks absolutely stunning. Love the production quality. You cannot fault CMON. They just do an excellent job every single time and absolutely knock it out of the park. Super, super pleased with this. Amazing stuff. All right, now I'm going to figure out how this all goes back together. That looks about right. Okay, so let's have a look and see what's inside this box of goodness. Again, they've done the same thing. They've put a detail of how your miniatures go into those trays. I think every company should do this. It really wouldn't take them any extra cost. It's already a cardboard box that's being produced, and they're already printing on the top of it anyway, so it's a detail I know I'm going to appreciate when I have to pack this all up after I finish filming. All right, let's have a look inside here. Again, multiple layers of trays. Okay. First one. We're greeted by more miniatures, more monsters that you can summon, and the warriors for a couple of the extra stretch goal gods, which is really, really cool. And here, this is the one I was talking about before, those special tiles. Sobek, the crocodile god. He looks amazing and super furious, which is so, so cool. Now, as I mentioned before, one of the cool things about the game is the players in last and second last position at some point in the game will combine into one entity. and they made this little plinth to represent that. So what will happen is the god that's in second last position will sit atop this plinth, and it actually clicks in like that. And the very last player's color disc will go on the bottom. So you can see which player has combined together, and they'll simply stomp around the board looking like this. Just a simple little detail, but my goodness, is that such a clever idea. And I love it. Love it to bits. Now, one of the really cool stretch goal miniatures is in this box. This absolute beast. What a stunner. Has some unique rules. Again, it's going to have some crazy powers that are going to be really interesting to delve into. But I know one of the things about this particular miniature is it will take up 2 hexes on the board instead of 1. So it has something quite unique that the others don't. No idea, as I said. I've kept this all a surprise for myself. So I'm excited to see what this all shakes out like in the actual gameplay itself. These miniatures are ridiculous. I am in love with them. Amazing. Amazing, amazing work. All right, on to the next box. All right, so the next box here is the first expansion, the Pantheon expansion. This one's a pretty straightforward expansion. It just adds even more gods that you can play as. So this one has another 5 gods that you can bring into the game and mix up that gameplay. So let's open this up and take a look at these miniatures. Again, this is one of those things when you're when the campaign was going and looking at all the stuff that's going on, you think, do I need another 5 gods to play as? Probably not. Do I want them? Absolutely yes. There's no question about it. So this one is going to be pretty awesome. The god miniatures that you play as are ridiculous. They're so big, and this is going to have a beautiful table presence, and I'm very excited to paint these eventually. Each one is an art piece in itself. So we've got the book that will describe the unique powers of each of the gods. We've got some tokens, and we've got the player boards for those gods, and the merging cards, player cards, bases, Ankh tokens, and then we've got the miniatures. Again, I think this might have tape. Yes, it does. So bear with me while I cut this open. Okay, so same sort of deal going on here. We've got the gods and the warriors, and these are stunning yet again. Amazing miniatures. I apologize, I don't know the names of all these miniatures. Or these gods, I should say, but they are absolutely stunning. I'm so excited to see how the different variable god powers work. There's just so much depth that's going to be in this game. So many strategies, so many layers to unpack in terms of how each of the gods play very, very differently from one another. I'm very, very excited to unpack all this and delve right into the strategy. And with that, we'll pack this one up and we'll move on to the next box. Okay, so the next expansion box, the Pharaoh expansion. This is the one that will actually drastically change the gameplay of Ankh. So it adds a brand new board, and it adds pharaohs or priests. There's a pharaoh miniature and there's priest miniatures for each of the gods, and it's from my understanding, it's like its own mini game sort of on the side, where you have influence over certain parts of the temple, and you get powers for maintaining influence or control of those different areas. So I'm definitely not going to play with this one the first time, maybe even the first 3 or 4 times I play the game, but I definitely am one to delve deep into games and really love the depth that expansions can bring, and I don't think this will be any exception. So we've got some tokens, not sure what they do, the rulebook for the expansion, and the actual temple board. So there's a political deck that is involved in this, and there's 4 sections within the temple that you move the priests around. So here's the cards, and I imagine that's the political deck itself. And then the miniatures, again, it's got to be miniatures, not just tokens. I won't get these ones out, but I'll take some pictures to throw up in just a second. The priests are really cool. They each have their own flavor and theme matching their god, and the beautiful gold Pharos miniature that I don't know what it does yet, but I'm sure it's something cool. So very excited to see what this expansion will add to the actual gameplay itself. A quick one, but hopefully it'll add a lot more depth to the game itself. Very excited for that one. And we'll move on to the final few boxes. There's not much more to go. Some more monsters and some more upgraded bits. Okay, so we've got the next box here, which is the Guardian set. This is just another expansion, just adding more monsters or guardians that you can summon to your cause as one of the gods. So I've already gone ahead and taken the shrink wrap off this one, so we'll just bust it open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so we've got a sheet that outlines the powers of those different guardians. And we've got the guardian cards here. So I haven't explained this bit yet, but from what I understand is you only ever play with 3 guardians in the game. So there's level 1, level 2, and level 3 guardians. And so as you unlock your Ankh powers, you're able to recruit level 1, level 2, and level 3 guardians. So even though there's 5 in this box and there's many more in the other boxes that we had a look at just before, it's you're mixing and matching different guardians in the game, so you will not play with all of them at once. So you're going to get a different flavor depending on the combinations that you have. But these particular miniatures, I don't know exactly what they do, but they look amazing, of course. Totally amazing. The detail on these are stunning as always, just like all the other ones. I am very excited to just see what all this can bring to the gameplay as well. So not much to see other than these amazing miniatures, but just adding more variety and more options to the way you like to play your game. So you can either do them randomly, or players can actually decide which guardians they want to play with. So the Guardian set just adds more to that, more variability to your game, simply. All right, we're at the very last box here. So before we take a look at that, there's just a couple of tiny boxes that were included in here. So these are upgraded bits. This tiny little box has a few cat tokens. Those go with one of the particular gods in one of the expansions, and they, I think, add strength, and they sort of have a hidden value of strength underneath them. So that's all they do, and there's a couple of plastic tokens here for, I think it's Horus, is the yellow-coloured god. So not sure what they do, but upgraded bits in a separate tiny little package there. And we've got the Sphinxes, which are an upgraded bit for the Pharaoh expansion, which we had a look at just before. So these are another monument, another building that can go on the board, and they have a little section behind the head to put the Ankh token in, so you know who's controlling it. A lovely little touch. I love all the upgraded bits, and they look absolutely fantastic. So those are those 2 little white boxes there. Okay, and last but not least, we have the Divine Offerings box. This is the box that just has pure component upgrades. There's no other expansion content. This is just upgraded bit goodness. So let's have a look and see what's in this one. Okay. So we've got Ankh tokens. These are plastic token upgrades for all of the gods instead of their cardboard ones, which is really, really nice. Looking forward to using those. And let's see, we've got a bit of a cover here. Okay, so we've got the God merger boards. So these are all the different gods you can play as. The artwork is really stunning. I'm actually quite glad to have these. These will act as a really nice reference for painting these miniatures. So this is a nice touch. Nice, thick, chunky cardboard. Very, very thick, which is super, super cool. And then we have the player boards. So I'll take one out. This is for Toth. These are the thicker cardboard player boards instead of the standard ones. What's really nice about these ones is these punch out. And you'll be able to slot your Ankh tokens into these holes. And because you're not changing abilities as the game goes, once you lock it in, that's it. There's no need to dig these out of the holes. So that's a really nice touch. Very much looking forward to playing with all these upgraded bits. Well, that's it. That's the last box. And that's all of the content for the all-in pledge for Ankh Gods of Egypt. I hope you've enjoyed this unboxing. Please click a like if it was enjoyable at all, and subscribe to see all the other content that the rest of the crew are making from the Board Game BBQ. And we hope that your next game is a sizzling one. Cheers.